Okay, so first we'll find A, H, and K. And A, H, and K are what?
A is
1.
H is 3.
Nope.
4.
Oh,
4.
All right.
And K is 3. Okay? You follow your model. It's a Y equal. The
Yeah,
K is at
exactly,
the
like
end.
X equal.
You have to, yes, you have to look at the right place, okay? So you have to know that. And so X equals H, so it's going to be X equals what?
X equals 4.
Very good. And the vertex is HK. So far, so good. This is easy, right?
Yeah.
So it's what?
4, 3.
And the focus is going to take us a little bit more to figure out. The focus is H, comma, so the first number is 4. But we need to figure out what 3 plus 1 over 4 times A is equal to. Okay? So it's 3 and 1/4. So it's 3.25. Okay? The directrix is 3 minus 1 over 4 times 1. So that's 2.75. 3 minus 1/4 is 2.75. Then direction of the opening is, if A is positive, it's up. And the lattice rectum is 1 over 1 absolute value, which is 1. Okay? So when we graph this, we're going to make this a pretty big scale since we have room. Our vertex is 4, 3. So I'm going to make here 1, 2, 3, 4, pretty separated. 1, 2, 3, pretty separated, so we can figure it out. So there's my vertex, and I'm going to put a little V next to it. Okay? So if this is 3, 3.25 is about here. Got it? So there's your focus. It's 4, comma 3.25. Does everybody see that that's the focus?
Mhm.
A little bit further. So when you're doing these, if you don't, these graphs here are very small. If you want to put them on another graph paper, I've got plenty of graph paper. Okay? So now you've got to look at the directrix. Y equals 2.75. Well, if this is 2, 2.75 is about here, right? And that is a line. So you're going to draw a line there, and that is the directrix. Okay? Direction of the opening is up, and when you look at the focus, it's always going to be inside that U. So when we build our parabola, the vertex is going to be down below and the focus is going to be above it for an up parabola. Everyone is different, okay?
Oh.
So now we look at the lattice rectum is 1. So I'm going to put a 5 here. And if this is 1, we're going to go halfway, 1/2 of a box to the right and 1/2 of a box to the left. And that is your lattice rectum. I call that like the axis on a car that keeps the tires together. That's going to tell you how wide the parabola is, okay? So you always do it off the focus because, of course, at the vertex there is no width because it's just a point, and then it's going to flare out like a parabola. So this is just telling you where to put your line. And then when we draw it, we're going to connect the end of the lattice rectum on that side and the end on this side as well as you can, and you've graphed the parabola. So we forgot the axis of symmetry. Axis of symmetry is the line that cuts this parabola in half, which is x equals 4, and that's the axis of symmetry. And it does. It cuts it right in half. If I could draw, that's what it looks like. So we have all the parts, and we draw it much differently than you did in Algebra 1, okay? This is a very different way of drawing a parabola. The first thing I do is graph the 2 points and kind of scope out what kind of parabola it's going to be, if it's horizontal or vertical. And this one's vertical because it goes up, because when I plot the vertex and the focus is inside the U, so I know it's going to face up. Okay, it's got to kind of hug that focus. Does everybody understand that? So I still need A, H, and K. Don't know what A is at all. We'll have to figure that out. But I know what H and K is. What's H and K?
H is 5.
Uh-huh.
K is 1.
Very good. So H is 5 and K is 1. So I've used the vertex to find H and K. Well, obviously they gave me this focus so I could find A. Okay, once I find A, I'm ready to write my equation, right? Well, I'm going to go, since this is a y equal parabola, and this is what's important. you need to know what side of the formula sheet you're on. It's a y equal parabola, so I'm going to write down the formula for focus. Okay? You understand what I did? So I know h is 5, so, and that's a 5, so we're good there. We got to figure out what this 5/4 is. So I know that k plus 1 over 4a equals 5/4, because the second number in the focus is that ugly formula. Well, do we know what k is?
1.
1. So k is 1. We're going to replace that with a 1. 1 over 4a equals 5/4, right? When I subtract 1 from both sides, I get 1 over 4a equals 1. Because when I take away 1 from 5/4, oh, I get 1/4, sorry. I get 1/4, okay? And now we cross multiply. So 4a equals 4, and that's one's easy, and you were right, it was a 1, but we didn't know that from looking at it. You still have to figure it out. So a is a 1. Everybody understand that? So now I just put it in the formula. I know that the formula for y equals parabola is this. So I write my formula. Y equals, and you can put the 1 just so you make sure you use it, x minus 5 squared plus 1. We know h is 1 and 3 is k. But unfortunately, if they give you the vertex, you can't tell what direction it goes in, because the vertex is always hk. It doesn't matter if it's sideways, left, right, up, or down. So that doesn't really tell us direction. But the x equals 7/8 does. If you look at the formula for directrix, which side of the formula sheet are we on if it's x equals 7/8?
The x side.
The right side. Very good. So I know that this is going to be an x equals a y minus k squared plus h. Okay? That's what we're looking for. So we've got some stuff already. We've got to go and hunt for the a. So I go look at the formula for directrix, and it's x equals h minus 1 over 4a, correct? Well, do I know what the directrix is? What is it? X equals what?
7/8.
So I replace this with the x, and the h is a 1 minus 1 over 4a. So we got to find out what a is. Got it? Let the math take you there. When I subtract 1 from 7/8, I get negative 1/8. Always deal in fractions for this until you're done, okay? Equals negative 1 over 4a. That minus sign goes with the 4a. So I'm going to cross multiply, and I get negative 4a equals negative 8. And when I divide by negative 4, I get a equals 2. So I know that a is 2. Am I ready to write my equation? So each one is different. You've got to look for a, h, and k. Once you do, you're ready to write your equation. So my equation is x equals 2, y minus 3 squared plus 1. Pretend I can. Okay. So we're still looking for a, h, and k. As soon as we do, we've got it. Since this is a horizontal, we know it's going to be an x equals a y minus k squared plus h. So on all the ones you have for homework, h and k are given to you because they give you the vertex each time. So your h is going to be negative 3. Your k is going to be 2. So we've got 2 of the 3 like we always have. And now we've got lattice rectum equals 4. Well, this is kind of easy because if I know the formula for lattice rectum is 1 over a, absolute value, equals 4, then that means 1 over a equals 4, right? And when we cross multiply, we have 4a equals 1. Let the math take you there. And a is 1/4. So we're ready to write our equation. It's going to be x equals 1/4 y minus 2 squared minus 3.